Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, run it back.
Well, KD makes an appearance, and that's how we treat him. That is disrespectful, you guys. This is Run It Back, FanDuel TV, Wednesday morning, right? Yes, I almost messed that up. Stadium Insider Charania. Do you like when I do this, like a display?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's like
I appreciate the coverage here with the hands.
Chandler.
Like usually you don't give me that. Usually like Chandler.
Lou Will down there on the end, our superstar. Guys.
Superstar.
We wanted something to be exciting. We wanted to be entertained. We didn't know if we were going to get that, and we did. An overtime game in game one. Wow. Pacers, Celtics.
Foul.
Yeah, we're going to do that. All right. This one was crazy. 133-128 final. Tatum, 36 and 12. Jaylen Brown had 26 points. Tyrese threw in his 25 points, 10 assists. But here we go. 3 points up. 2 turnovers in the last 27 seconds for Indiana. And I don't know anyone out there who could possibly say they did not blow this one, Chandler.
They blew it. They blew it in multiple different ways. First of all, with 10 seconds left, you got to call a timeout. You have a timeout. Advance the ball and make sure you get the ball in. That is the number one priority. You cannot afford something like this where you have at least tell whoever was in, I think it was Nimhard, count in your head to 4 and use your timeout. There's no harm, no foul done there. And then we've talked about this all the time. Me and Lou debated it once. Mm-hmm. You have to foul. I know it's a tough shot.
You're going to debate it again.
I know it's a hard shot. And by the way, Siakam played unbelievable defense. He damn near got elbowed in the face because it was such a tight, brushed up on him. But why even let him do that? Why even let luck play into that? All you have to do, and by the way, he gave him plenty of chances. He shot faked. He gave him plenty of time. Just foul. Make him make 2 free throws, and then all you have to do is get the ball in, which they struggle with, but they still had a timeout, and make your free throws. So it happens too many times where there's bad beats, and it doesn't make sense to me that why teams keep allowing this. If they foul there, or if they call a timeout, we're sitting here today praising Indiana that they did it. They shocked the world. They're up 1-0. Now instead we're talking about their turnovers and their late game execution. It's just it's tough because I genuinely feel bad for them.
I do too.
Because they had this game.
That building was quiet. You had them. But Lou disagrees. This is
Always.
you don't think. Even last night last night they should have just made sure nobody gets a 3.
Last night,
put 5 guys around. Put 5 guys around. If you don't want to foul, at least don't let them shoot a 3.
Yeah, the 3 that killed me.
last night, if there's any time, a scenario where I would agree that you foul, that was it. 8.5 seconds. Boston doesn't have a timeout. So you foul right now, they're going to shoot free throws. You're going to go to full length of the court. However, I've never been a fan of the fouling because, again, if that scenario where you foul a guy, you're putting pressure on yourself to make free throws. You're putting pressure on yourself to get the ball in. You're putting pressure on yourselves to make the plays. Did Indiana do any of those things last night? Absolutely not. So why donate 2 points to a team?
They still have to make the free throws too. They're not free, so they still have to have the pressure free throws too.
No, for sure. So that's my whole thing. Why put pressure on yourself when you're the team with the 3-point lead? Now I'm putting pressure on myself to get the ball in, which they failed to do, to manage the clock in the game, which they failed to do. They shot 9 for 10 from the free throw line, but who knows what's going to happen? It's too many different scenarios.
But what if Indy misses the free throws? What if he missed 2? Then it's literally over. So they have to make the free throws just as we have to as well.
Exactly. And so we can say all of that. Simple enough. Just get a stop. Just get a stop.
Don't let him get to the one spot.
It was really good.
I thought that was really good defense. I think it was a bad beat. I think that Jaylen Brown, give him credit, he made a hell of a shot.
Crazy
but
shot.
You can't get better defense than that. So I've never been a fan of donating 2 free throws to a team, having to get the ball in for them to foul me, for me to get to the free throw line. They turned the ball over twice in less than 30 seconds.
So would you have put 5 people or 4 people around the 3-point line and Miles Turner
but you know what?
Paint?
Yes, yeah, absolutely don't give up a 3. But sometimes we always look at what happens in a negative sense. Give Joe Mazzulla a lot of credit. He drew up a hell of a play, and they made a hell of a shot. You got yourselves in the overtime. We knew that Boston was going to win the game at that time.
By the way, they had 4 shots. I think the Celtics, before Jaylen Brown made that, had 4 opportunities.
Yeah, Indiana did everything they could to lose this game. So whether you foul there or not, who cares? They did everything they could to lose the game.
That was it'll be interesting to see mentally and spiritually what a loss like that does.
Also, what a shot from Jaylen Brown.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. saying. Give him. I mean,
He was
we got to
crumbling.
give
Yeah, it's an insane shot.
Like,
he
it
thought
was-
he was fouled on the shot.
I mean, no, because Pascal was like, I'm putting my hands behind my back.
He had a split second, I think, to foul if he wanted, because Jaylen Brown gathered, and it took him a split second to really get that shot off. He had a chance, but again, it's do you follow or not.
To me, when you do that, it's too many scenarios. It's too many what ifs. We got to make free throws. We got to get the ball in. It's like Chandler said, it's a split second right here that we're looking at. You can foul right here.
See,
you got
like,
plenty
he
of time.
gives a little
You got plenty of time
jab
to
pivot.
foul.
Well,
but
I'll
if
tell
I'm
you
smart,
this.
I'm waiting for you to even launch towards me, and I'm going into my shooting motion. This is in a
I
deep
can't believe that
corner.
one
There's
in.
only one option for you to do anything in that deep corner. Is to shoot the basketball. So if I'm Siakam, I'm not even taking a chance on fouling him in the act of shooting.
And I'll say this, when you're giving a foul as a defender, you're doing it when they put the ball on the floor.
Right,
He didn't
not-
take a dribble. So this was a quick bang, bang spot. He did, looking back at it again. It's like looking at a play after a referee blew the call, like seeing it again. Now I'm sure he would have been like, damn, when he shot fakes, why didn't I just foul him? But usually you're taught to do it on the dribble, so you're not in the act of shooting, because God forbid you do it, he hits his arm and he makes the
4-point
three,
play.
and it's a 4-point play.
Yeah, then
Lose the game.
that would be worse.
then it's a real issue. But I just think take luck out of it, do your job, make free throws, and the game is over. That's all.
Last night when I saw this play, I said, shit, I'm going to have to argue with Chandler in the morning.
I know. As soon as it happened, I was like, here we go.
I automatically knew that
it's going to happen
Chandler and I
again.
was going to
It's
go
gonna
back
happen
and
again.
forth.
They're not.
Yeah, but that scenario could not have been made more perfectly for this argument. It's an important game. Everything happened the way it needed to happen for this argument.
Like I said, if there's a scenario that you can make a case to foul, that would have been it, because they'd have had to go the full length of the court without a timeout. But again, they did a great job. They threw that ball in that deep corner. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to foul him in an act of shooting. And like I said, you got to make free throws as well. They didn't do a great job of taking care of the basketball.
No.
So that's also a problem with them getting the basketball in. Now you're looking at a scenario where you turn the ball over. Now, let's say they turn it over, Jason Tatum gets the ball. Now he gets an opportunity at 2 more free throws to take the lead, opposed to a tie where you still have an opportunity to win the game in overtime. Too many scenarios you leave open when you donate points. I'm not with
22
it.
turnovers for Indiana. And you had it. After this one, Rick Carlisle decided he would take the blame for this.
This loss is totally on me. With 10 seconds in regulation, we should have just taken the timeout, advanced the ball, and found a way to get it in and made a free throw or two and ended the game.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. And we're talking about the things that Indiana did to lose this game, but for 47 minutes and 30 seconds, they did things to win this game. Think about it. They survived the knockout punch in the beginning of the game when they were up 12-0, which was insane-tastic.
Can't
These
lose that
turnovers
ball.
are insane. But also, can we give Drew Holiday a little credit with the pressure that he put on Tyrese Halliburton? The one turnover when he just basically dribbled off his foot, the physicality that he played with all night long. And this is why players respect him, because it's a nightmare when he's guarding you. He's big, he's physical, he can move his feet. So as bad as Indiana played down the stretch, they did put themselves in position to beat this game that no one thought. Think about it. The spread was 10 points.
Not at all.
They were down 12-0. They couldn't get anything going early. They weathered the storm. They stayed with it, and they still did enough. Now, can they overcome this? Or is this something that this is going to hang over there? Because the talent is not the same. Boston's a much more talented team. So when you do this and you get this close and you fail, it's almost that much hard to overcome. We'll see how they bounce back, but they did plenty to win this game. We should be talking about them being up 1-0 today, and it's not. They smoked it.
I know this really could go two ways, right? This was just so morally defeating that you can't possibly even come back from it. Or
Like, their heads are hung today. If I'm on the team, I'm like, my God.
It's
but do you not also think we had them?
It's dark.
It's doable.
But how can we think
And
we're going to
game
do
two's
that
coming.
again on the road in that arena? It's just tough.
Well, game two is where Boston likes to lose their game at home.
This is fair.
Not after this one, because you woke the bear up
So
already.
that was the one?
Yeah, so that usually game 2 has been the sleeper game for Boston. It's too late. You already poked the bear. Now
You already punched them in the mouth once.
Yeah, they're aware, they're alert, now they're ready to go. I
And
think it gets ugly from here for Indiana.
And I'll say this, just to make sure we're not going to talk about the post-game interview with Jaylen Brown afterwards. He was interviewing as if they lost the game. He was pissed. They're not happy either. So the Celtics are going to clean up some stuff. They're going to be much better, just as the Pacers are of execution down the stretch, turnovers. But the Celtics know they didn't play good. They knew they should have lost this game. So they're going to also be much better. So it's going to be tough for Eddie.
Did you have a monster takeaway from this one? Because there's a lot.
These losses can be demoralizing. I was at that game 1 again with Cavs Warriors. I think it was 2018 when they had a chance to win that series. LeBron James had a big game. They lose that game 1. J.R. Smith has the infamous play where he's right at the basket, he dribbles it all the way out. And the Cavs never recovered. They never looked the same. You need to take advantage of these moments, especially when you have a team that's the prohibitive favorites on the ropes like the way Indiana did yesterday. I mean, the one saving grace you could take away is Tyrese Halliburton was super aggressive offensively, 6 threes, 14 attempted. Pascal Siakam is just, he had a couple rough games in the second round series, but he 24, 12, and 7 last night. So there were some positive takeaways, but whether it's fouling up 3, whether it's a lack of a timeout, whether it's not executing down the stretch in terms of holding the ball, accepting the fouls, understanding how you can run your out-of-bounds plays, those are the things that Indiana's going to look back on and really regret in this game.
That was I like to call him playoff P. I wonder if it'll spread.
That one's taken
No,
already.
I don't think it is.
That one's taken already.
I don't think it is. I think it works here. Jason Tatum, look, I know there's commercials. There's no such thing as playoff Tatum, and you can interpret that however you want. He had 10 points in overtime, which is the most for any player in a playoff game in the last several years. So, look, he was 2 for 10 in the fourth in the start of overtime, and then blossomed. Signature moment?
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're talking about all season long. We want to see more of this. We want to see him make plays down the stretch, and he did this last night. He had a huge 3. He actually missed a couple bunnies, too, so it's not even like some of the shots he were missing was a bad. That was a great pass by Derek White there, finding a mismatch. Great and one. This was the dagger right
that
here.
Would hurt.
This is a big shot. This is what you want your best player to do.
Like Nembhard, you're only guarding the best player on the floor. Let's leave him 15 feet away and go help somebody else.
He made big plays down the stretch, and I think when you're Indy, you're willing to give up a lot to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but you can't win games when all 3 of them, including Drew Holiday, are having 28 points. He's being efficient.
Right.
He's also dominating, and they didn't have any guard. Nembhard is too small. Halliburton's too smart. They don't really have a matchup for Drew Holiday. They have bodies that I love Nesmith. He can be physical with Tatum or Brown. They got guys but Drew Holiday, they're gonna have to put that fire out because he was way too efficient last night.
Does this do anything, Lou, for your future telling of what the Celtics team looks like? Does it change anything in your mind of how good they are?
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be one of the better games we're going to get out of this series from now on out. I think, like Chandler just mentioned, these guys were upset that they even had to go through this to win this game 1. I thought they might have felt better if they'd have lost. We got outplayed. This was a better team tonight. But the fact that they've been woke up already going into game 2, still at home, I'm almost positive they're going to go to Indiana up 2-0 with a big win in game 2, just based on the attention to detail and the things that they're going to be able to clean up in practice in these next couple of days, getting prepared for the next game.
Yeah, they had their eye-opening moment in the first 2 series in game 2 where they got waxed in both of those. This happened now, and they still got away with murder and got a win. So I'm with Lou here. I think this is a defining moment for both teams. But I think getting this chin music in game 1, realizing that we can get beat. We should have got beat, but we still luckily got out of there with a win. I said 4 or 5. I think this was the most competitive game we're going to get. Maybe Indy squeaks one out at home, but game 2 is.
So.
I think it still goes 5, but
Indy scraps 1.
Indy's good at home. They'll get 1 at home.
I think they get 2. I don't know. It just feels like last night was something. Something was there. Jaylen Brown, you guys mentioned after the game, seemed very pissed off. He did talk about the Pacers' pace. Look, I don't know, Lou, how realistic to sort of change your style to another team's pace. Like, what do you do here if you're the Celtics, if that is the issue?
You got to get stops. You got to get stops. You got to make them take the basketball out. I'm sorry, I'm going backwards. You got to score the basketball. Make them
I like scoring, huh?
Yeah, you got to score the basketball, make them take the basketball out and slow them down a little bit. But give Indiana credit. Like, for 3.5 quarters, they played good enough basketball. Even with the turnovers, they still were in a position to win that basketball game. But if you're the Boston Celtics, you got to play at your pace. Now you got to make them play the way that you want to play, which is methodical. Play ISO basketball. We got guys that can score the ball at a high clip. Make them take the basketball out, use the shot clock, and prolong the game in that way. I think that's one of the ways that you kind of counter the way that Indiana likes to play.
Now you got like a day and a half in the city of Boston. What do you do as a team?
You soak. You sit there and you pout.
That's it? Everybody?
And
that does not seem healthy.
Yeah, it's tough. Like today, they're going to watch film. They're going to do a light shoot around. They're going to talk about what they did well. but it's hard when they did everything well to win this game other than execution down the stretch. So they need to, they came out with great energy, even though that 12-0 punch.
For real.
They never hung their head. They stuck with it. 22 turnovers, 32 points. Like that's tough. And only 10 free throws. So if I'm them, I'm trying to be more physical. I'm trying to bring the game to them like Drew Holiday did, like Jaylen Brown did. Get to the free throw line. You can't shoot 10 free throws and give up 32 points on 22 free throws. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, 10 free throw attempts to 30 for the Celtics. And no Rick Carlisle crying.
Yeah.
So, that's
I mean,
something.
you can't listen. You can't shoot free throws when you're turning the basketball over.
can't.
So that's not a Boston Celtics issue. That's an Indiana Pacers issue. That's not something that the referees attributed to. That's something that your team did. How can you shoot free throws when you're giving them 22 opportunities to have the basketball?
That was a crazy game. We got a little scoops from Sham. So you've been doing extra work while you're out here. Is that right?
This is a fun one. This is not a very serious scoop, but so there are agency pro days going on as these draft prospects get ready for the NBA draft next month. And I went to one yesterday. DJ Burns Jr., NC State big man, led that team to the Final Four, ACC tournament MVP. He was listed, there was a big deal made about his size, his frame, his weight. He was listed at 275 pounds when he finished the season in college. I saw him at the pro day yesterday. He looked totally different.
What?
I talked to him afterward. I think we have a photo here.
What do you mean he looks
DJ
different?
Burns told
Wow.
me he has lost 45 pounds in the last 6.5 weeks. He said he's doing cardio
Ozempic?
workouts at 5 a.m. He told me,
I was thinking the
Ozempic?
same
he told me
thing.
no
What?
Ozempic.
Nothing wrong with that.
He told me no Ozempic.
Fair enough.
That is.
Did he fail a drug test for
did tell me this.
Ozempic?
No.
Like an NBA players take
No, it's a
Ozempic?
diabetes
I
medicine.
need the secret, bro. 45 pounds.
He said he's been doing workouts 4 days a week at 5 a.m.
Oh, my.
Cardio workouts specifically that early in the morning. And him and his rep actually made a point to say no Ozempic was used during these 45 pounds lost. So I saw him. He looked totally different. Shout out to DJ Burns Jr. He's trying to make a name for himself in this.
Commitment.
I love that.
Yeah,
Is he's on draft, like he's going to get drafted?
Well, we don't know if he's going to be drafted, but he is going to be a draft-eligible player. He will be in the NBA.
I mean, he's doing everything he possibly can. Because I think the tournament ended and it was like, well, we don't know if we'll see him in the NBA. What happened? He's clearly doing everything he
looks
can
great.
possibly do.
He looked
yeah.
totally different.
Yeah,
I
he looks great.
didn't recognize him.
I love that. Good on you getting that picture. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a man who can answer all of our questions about what's up with the Celtics, Brian Scalabrine, joins the show next.
Run it up, the running back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Let's rock, let's roll, tick-tock, let's go.
Brian Scalabrine.
White mama, don't do him like that. Let's go.
Yeah, that bid is on. 11 years in the league, 5 of those in Boston. He is a champ, of course. You can hear him every morning on NBA radio on SiriusXM. Brian Scalabrine joins right now. Sir, I don't even know where you want to start on this particular game. I don't even know what camera's mine. Because there's so much to do. The turnovers, the Tatum shot. Do you foul, do you not foul? What was the one big thing that stood out the most for you in last night's steal of a victory?
It's amazing, and I'm a Celtic analyst, and I'm supposed to, sort of have green lenses on, but the inconsistency of the Boston Celtics is so alarming. The fact that they came out and they were pushing the pace, and you're thinking, all right, I love the game plan. Pace a game against a team that loves to run, and they go up 12-0, and then slowly but surely start walking the ball up. The defensive intensity wasn't there. I will give them credit from this standpoint. They don't foul the Indiana Pacers. You guys mentioned the free throws before we went to break. Only 3 in regulation. The other 7, that would happen in overtime. So I give them credit from that standpoint. But, man, I think they really dodged a bullet in that game. And if Indiana just did some minor things, like call a timeout to advance the ball, defend the 3, step to the ball when you're trying to catch it, the Celtics would be down 0-1 right now. No reason to panic from them, but it's still a little bit strange that they're not a consistent team at this point with all this talent.
Yeah, Brian, it does feel like they got a little bit away with murder here. I thought they'd be down 1-0. In that situation, that corner 3, me and Lou always debate this. I'm a big foul up 3 guy, especially if you're the shooter, the guy who catches the ball, gives you time to do that, which he did. He didn't put the ball on the floor, so it was a little dicey. If you're Rick Carlisle, are you, obviously watching it back now, he made an incredible shot. Are you fouling up 3?
Yeah, I think so. But more than that, Chandler, how about not guarding the 2, right? Like, let's say me and you are coming together defensively, And I'm talking 100 times out of 100, if we want to put our back to the outside, right, to the sideline, to half court, allow you to cut to the basket, take the Jaylen Brown layup all you want, but how are you even getting screened in that moment when all you have to do is protect against the three? So we could do the foul game if you want. So there was about 8 seconds to go during that time, but I don't understand how, if you look at all the Indiana Pacers, like in that possession, you just don't play it standard. You don't have your back to the basket or to the guy taking the ball on the baseline. You just play on the outside. And when they come to you, you absorb that. So there's so many things that were wrong. And plus, if you can see the ball, when the ball is in the air, at that point you can grab. Obviously, you can't do it beforehand, but why at any point, if you don't have to protect against a two, would you not keep your eye on the ball and take that foul when the ball's in the air?
Yeah.
Yeah, Scal, I'm not a fan of donating points whatsoever. You know, I know the foul when you're up 3, that's a relatively new thing that coaches and teams have started to go with. I'm old school. Why put pressure on myself? If I'm gonna give you 2 free throws, now I'm putting pressure on myself to get the ball in. I'm putting pressure on myself to deal with traps. I'm putting pressure on myself to also make free throws. And then I still gotta come down and get another stop, which you still have an opportunity. I just hate the whole foul game thing when you can just buckle down and try to get a stop. And like you said, guard the 3-point line. You know, those are playground rules. When you're on the playground, hey, no twos. And you'll literally stand behind a guy and make him and force him to the rim. They had how many opportunities to win this basketball game? So I don't think the fouls probably would have saved them, but they had too many scenarios, too many different ways to lose the basketball game, and that was the one that they picked last night.
Yeah, and you know, do you point to inexperience? I know Siakam's won a championship. This guy's been in the battles. Like, they beat the Golden State Warriors. I know KD got hurt and everything like that, but like, Siakam has been in big games. Do we really have to say step over the leg, go to the ball? Like,
that doesn't look like experience.
That they're making, like, the Indiana, it's almost as if you're saying, well, man, they got a deep team. They do this. They pace the game. I like the way they play. They play hard, but like, maybe they just weren't ready to beat, you know, to go to the NBA Finals. And it was really amazing, just the last 30 seconds of that game.
I genuinely think that they thought the game was over. I think they came
we
down
all
to
did.
But Carlisle's got championship experience, so it's like that. I can't even fathom that as the excuse.
It was an insane turnaround in a short period of time. You've called it seek and destroy mode. It's like a lack of intensity. I sort of look at it as if sometimes I watch the Celtics team and they feel like they're a team that's already won a couple championships, but they haven't. But there's that vibe. What is that? Is it the players? Is it coaching? How does that even happen?
I don't know. I'm being honest with you, Michelle. I don't know. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. You guys remember when Drew Holiday got into Halliburton's airspace and he forced that turnover, right? So this is the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't need to see that 100 times a game, but I would think any time, and you've been around great teams. Like, I was on a great team in 2008. Like, anytime things start to go sideways, you just pick up your defensive intensity. That's what you do, right? And I'm surprised. Why does the Celtics have to seem like improbable odds to win a game for them to raise up their level? It just doesn't feel right. Like, in the NBA, people think it's like just the last possession. But there are moments, and you could, like, I can go to all kinds of great players. Michelle, you love the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
So Tim Duncan will get you 14 points, but every time you're on like a 6-0 run or an 8-2 run and Popovich is doing this, that ball's going to Tim Duncan and he goes and gets you a big bucket. So I just wonder, there's a lot of times where teams are on runs against this Boston Celtic team. Think about it. They're up 12 in the first quarter. They're up 13 in the third quarter. And they don't really respond when a team sort of makes a run. And that's what, historically, when you see great teams, that's what we're used to. We're used to the great player going to a different level and saying, all right, enough is enough, little brother. Let me just take this game over. Bop, bop, bop. Now it's 14 again. And I cover this team all year long, and they find ways to win. I can't take anything away from 64 wins and where they're at in the Eastern Conference Finals, but there are moments where you're wondering, are you guys going to, at this point, establish your dominance? Let the other team know that there are levels to this game, and you are not on my level. And I'm not seeing enough of that from this Celtic team so far. But maybe it's because it's the Indiana Pacers. Maybe if they played Minnesota or they played Dallas, it'll be different. But at this point, I'm waiting for those moments, and I'm not finding them.
That's what's kind of confusing to me when I hear some people call this Celtics team a super team, and I'm like, this isn't a super. This isn't. They didn't join up like the big three. This isn't KD going to the Warriors. So what's your thoughts on when you hear this team that hasn't won a championship be called a super team?
I mean, on paper, with accolades, you can call them a super team if you want. Like what Porzingis was at times. You think about Holiday, underrated, Derek White. Another guy that wasn't even ESPN's top 100. We all know, like, Derek White's a borderline all-star. Al Horford, generational winner. So, yeah, like on paper, but they don't play like a super team. And I'll go back to my example. Man, you can play the Warriors shot for shot. You can go punch for punch. But there's a 16-2 run coming that you just can't do anything about. And we're just not seeing enough of that from this team consistently. So I hope they turn it around. I hope that they start playing better. And it's hard not to look at the Minnesota Timberwolves and the way that they bring it defensively and not say, well, if what we're watching right now from them, and I get it, they're going against defending champs, Denver Nuggets, a lot of motivation there. The whole Tim Conley thing and everything that team is built to beat that team. There's a historic rivalry in the last couple of years with Minnesota and Denver. I understand all that, but I'm saying I'm watching that team play, and I'm wondering, can my Celtic team for 48 minutes get to that same level? I would be surprised if they do. I think they can. I've seen some battles with some really good teams, and they go shot for shot, and it looks good. I mean, maybe they were bored against Miami because they were hurt, and they were bored against Cleveland because no Donovan Mitchell, and they looked a little bored against Indiana last night.
Scal, you think that's more of a personality thing? Because, when you look at Minnesota, Ant-Man, he's fiery. He's teaching Cat how to be fiery. Jason Tatum and Brown, they some laid-back cats. Do you think that's a personality thing?
I've been begging those guys on air to be like, this is what the playoffs are all about. I'm all cool with the sacrifices of getting your teammates involved. I'm good with that. Like, I you know what? I'm going to tip my hat to you in the regular season saying, let D. White go off, let Drew Holiday, let Porzingis have his shine. But when the playoffs come around, like, I don't know any other way from these star players that I have been around or I have seen, and you can go down the list. Star players are savages. They're killers. They do it every moment, and they're looking to destroy. And their stats go up because they're playing 44 minutes, and they are just going at you time and time again. I don't know if Tatum and Brown are doing that night in and night out. I see it sometimes, and I love the way that Tatum played in the last two games against the Cavs. Like he went, game 3, 4, and 5 against the Cavs. I don't care that he went 10 for 25. I don't care if he had 5 turnovers. I don't care about any of that. He had that killer instinct look. Well, I think star players need to be like that every moment of the playoffs. And so far, we've seen a little bit of that, but not consistently. And man, how about this? I'm going on Tatum right now. He had 36 and 12 in that game. That's how talented Jason Tatum is. And he had a moment, and 10 points in overtime. Like, he has that ability, but does he have the mentality to do it throughout the entire game? And that's the challenge. I think to win a championship, both those guys got to do that. And the rest of the guys will play off of them, and they'll be fine. But you got to have that seek and destroy mentality.
Scal, Rajon Rondo, your former teammate, he said that this season will be a failure if the Celtics don't win a championship. Do you agree with that?
Yes. And commitment to money, commitment to draft picks. Shams, you know the cap. Like, if you're going into that second apron, and you're going into that second apron for years to come, and you're building a team around 2 super max guys, like, we haven't even seen this yet with dudes making $65 million when their contracts kick in. Yeah, moving forward at this point with all the failures and all the almost, it is definitely a failure if they don't win a championship.
It's weird because I know every year come this time we have that discussion about the candidates, and it feels like that more about this Celtics team than it has in a while. And part of that, I think, is the Jason Tatum of it all. And you mentioned the fact he had a great game last night. He is a top player. He told us he's the best player in the league. We got all that. But you have no rings. You got a trip to the finals. We know about the conference finals, 5 out of 7 seasons. And this business is all about talking about legacies. So how much does his legacy weigh on how this particular season ends up?
Yeah, I don't know what happens going forward, but I think I agree that this season, this is the best team he's ever had by far. Like we in Boston, we loved Marcus Smart and we loved Kristaps Porzingis. We loved those guys. I mean, I'm sorry, we loved Robert Williams, but Drew Holiday and Porzingis are a major, major upgrade to what they had before. And it's like at times you could say, well, those guys weren't ready. Rob Williams wasn't ready. Rob Williams was hurt. Marcus Smart, whatever you want to say. At this point in time, with the roster that they have, no matter who they're going against, there is no excuses. So, like, Michelle, I don't know what happens in 2025, 2026, and Tatum's legacy will be cemented by that. But it does feel like you have an unbelievable chance to win a championship this year, and the squad is still good. They'll be good for years to come. I understand all that, but this is a golden opportunity. And I would say, as good as Minnesota is, and they're good. Minnesota's really good. The only guy that I thought we had a really hard time in matching up with was Nikola Jokic. So that guy's off the table right now. There's a big path and a nice runway for the Celtics to win a championship this year.
Scott, speaking of that, I'd like to stir the pot here a little bit and ask you, your 2008 championship team against this current Boston Celtics team. Who you got in a 7-game series?
Yeah, so all year I've been like, this year's team. This year's team would smoke us. Like, no disrespect to my man. I know I'm going to get heat on Twitter for this from Kendrick Perkins, but let's just be honest, man. I'm not seeing the floor against these guys, but Kendrick Perkins isn't seeing the floor either against these guys. Let's be honest. Let's just put our analyst hat on real quick. Like, dude, how are you going to play against this squad right here? I get it, but after watching it, the one thing is this hard playing grit, grind, all that stuff. Maybe that just plays itself through. And revisionist history, I know every old player thinks, oh, we played so hard back in the day. But that 2008 team, we really did bring it. Defensively, we were historically good. And you had to really fight for everything you got. And I get this team has talent, but I would, through 82 games, Chandler, I said, 2024, but after watching the playoffs, unless something changes from here on out, and things could change, I get it, there's no way. The toughness of that 2008 team would overwhelm this team. So unless things change at this point, which, by the way, we're only halfway through the playoffs. A lot has happened, but we're still only halfway done. So there's a lot that can happen in the future. So, but from what I've seen and the toughness and all that, and that level for this team has to go up if they were going to beat that 2008 team.
Scal, we talk about that 2008 team. The heart and soul of that team was KG, and you once described him as good crazy.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about that. What did you mean by that?
So there's an edge to the league that it's the margin in the NBA, as we know, right? And I think maybe common fans have a hard time understanding this. If this is good, too much is bad. It's the margins are small, really small. Well, KG pushed every ounce of that. If you're in the weight room and he walks in, you sit up straight, right? At practice, it's different. We know star players, and it's hard to bring it every night. It's hard to play 36, 30, 38 minutes and then go to practice and bring the energy, and then be in the weight room and bring the energy, and then on the plane, making sure everyone's connected, and the gambling, and everyone talking trash but not breaking out into too many fights. We had some fights but not too many fights, right? So it's all living on that fine edge. And you guys all watched The Last Dance. The Chicago Bulls were living on the fine edge of, man, just a little bit more is probably too much, right? So we lived that. And because of KG's personality, he pushed everyone to be just that much better. And if you're 2% better a month for an entire season, times that by 15 guys, well, your team's a whole lot better when the playoffs roll around. So that's kind of how it worked. Each guy pushed each other. I've never seen Paul Pierce in that type of shape. Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, they kept trying to one-up each other as who was the hardest working, who was the most dedicated. And when you get stars doing that, you become pretty good.
Scal, if the Celtics are able to move on, they'll play either Minnesota or Dallas. If you're Boston, put yourself in their shoes real quick in that locker room. Who would you rather face?
Ooh, the sidebar stories. In the media, we love guys who are outspoken like Anthony Edwards. So I would love the Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum conversation. Like, everyone, we love to overrate. We're calling Anthony Edwards Michael Jordan, right? So we love to overrate the young player at this point. Jason Tatum sees a young wing coming in, and we know Anthony Edwards isn't backing down. So this will be an unbelievable foe for Tatum. Remember, if you guys just go in your free time, look at the stats when Tatum plays against Kevin Durant. Like, he's up for those matchups. So to get the best version of Tatum, I always feel like if we're getting that version, we're not going to lose. Then on the other side, you have the whole Kyrie Irving coming back to Boston. You know, Boston's fine that Kyrie Irving isn't on the team anymore, but they're still sour by the way it all went down. So there's that side of it, him stomping on Lucky and doing all that stuff. So each one's a sidebar. I think for my own personal benefit, I want to see what Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards look like playing in the Garden. I think that's an unbelievable finals. It's good for me. It's good for my show. It's good for content around the NBA. I wouldn't hate that matchup. But either way, I know this is crazy. I'm kind of leaning towards Dallas because I think Kyrie Irving is going to play a lot better in the conference finals. But either way, I think it'll be a good matchup, but I'm kind of leaning towards wanting to see what Minnesota and Boston kind of looks like.
I also like the idea of A-Rod courtside in Boston for a few games. I do think, like, some things you just never forget.
Well, I won't walk next to him because now I'm too pale, man. I got to get out of the sun. I don't know why. How did we get? I got to get more sun if I'm going to be anywhere in A-Rod's vicinity.
Dude, I'm with you on that one. Pasty is what I like to call it. You played for Tibbs in Chicago, and you know how much heat he gets. Like, they had a great season. Injury was awful, and he's still going to get a bunch of that blame. Where are you on the blame Tibbs game?
I'm not at all. I mean, I think I played for him. He's an unbelievable coach. I know I think there was that thing that came out. People don't want to play for Tibbs. You know, he's not for everybody. I'll tell you that. But if you want to win and you're committed to winning, you're a hard playing guy. You're a tough minded guy. I think you will enjoy playing for Tibbs. I really believe that if you're about all the right things. And it seems like right now they put a squad together: OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, Isaiah Hartenstein. You want to throw in what Mitchell Robinson was and what he is right now. It does seem like Leon Rose has put together a pretty good team around Tibbs. So you can blame him for running guys into the ground. I was the same guy that was in his office asking him when I was a player, and me and him are really close, but how come Jimmy Butler's not playing more? Don't lecture me, just tell me why. I'd love to know, because Jimmy Butler I liked him as a rookie. But he always has a big plan, and whatever his reasoning is, he's the coach and he has to make those decisions. He's watching more film than me, so I think that I kind of lean towards that. But I think the job, and I've always told him this: Tibbs, you're too good of a coach to not use more guys on your bench. Like, we had Derrick Rose miss 30 of 66 games, and we still had the best record in the NBA. But if Derrick Rose was playing, he might have sat some of those guys, right? But if he's out, John Lucas can go in there, and somehow we can win a game with John Lucas III, right? So I just said, like, you're too organized of a basketball coach not to be able to use some guys off the bench.
Scott, you've also spent a lot of time working with potential number 1 overall pick Cooper Flagg over the last few years. What about him excites you? Do you think he has a chance to be a franchise caliber player?
Yeah, I mean, the question would be, can he score at that level at a high enough clip? Like, I know he can play at an all-star level. He can contribute defensively, offensively. He's a great connector and all that. But when you're talking about the greats of the league, you're talking about dudes that can drop 25 to 45 on any given night. Like, Cooper's working on his shot. It looks a lot better. To be that face of a franchise, to be a perennial all-star, not a one-time all-star, like, he's got to be more consistent offensively. Hard to evaluate, and I'll just say this for anybody that watches high school sports: these guys are too good, especially that upper-level Mount Verde league where all they're playing is like future stars, right? That three-point line is way too close. They need to move that back. There's like a rhythm to the NBA line, and like, he takes one dribble and he's in the paint with a bunch of players. Like, it's hard to evaluate, like a checkoff at the a pocket pass to a skip pass to a strong side pass. Like, those are hard things to do when you got 10 guys inside of 20 feet. But when you stretch them out to 30, it's easier to analyze those things. So I can't wait to see him in college. There's no question he's an impactful NBA player, the number 1 pick. The question is just, can he drop 25 a night, and can he have a big night of 45 if he gets it going? Those are the things like I don't have the answers for yet. Like I don't know what makes Luka Doncic the way he is. Jason Tatum's his ability to get that shot off anytime he wants with the step back, the footwork, and all that. I have no idea how those guys do that. I just know that Cooper Flagg, he can go on any team in the NBA this year, start and be an impactful player this year right now. But we all know like that next level of a guy, and you got 2 guys that could score, like Chandler and Lou. You guys figure out ways to get buckets. Like that's a different animal, and that's not for everybody out there. But I think he's working on it. He's a complete savage. In his mind, he thinks that he's going to be one of the best players in the NBA, which is the first part of the battle of being great.
Absolutely.
The cockiness.
Yeah.
I could see that with Chandler.
Oh, he's a savage.
So there's a rumor, maybe you started it, maybe you didn't, I'm not here to judge, but that he played Bradley Beal at Tatum's camp and crushed him. And Bradley Beal says that never happened. So the mystery unfolds.
Can I clarify?
Absolutely.
All right. Can we cuss on this show or not? I'll just use. Can I use it?
Chandler does.
Fuck yeah, we can.
God.
All right. So now this is what I heard. Now I talked to Cooper, and he wouldn't confirm or deny. But Cooper Flagg talks shit. In pickup, everybody talks shit, right? So I heard he talked shit to Brad Beal, and I heard Brad Beal talk shit back to him. And then I heard that they were kind of going at it, right? Back and forth, just like any pickup game would be, right? The fact that he's a high school player not backing down became a bigger story. Now, did I add, like I do, some extra sauce, maybe some salt and pepper, maybe some lemon pepper? Maybe I've added some extra to that. Yes, I do that. That's what I do. But I do know that there was an exchange between those 2 guys in the pickup. But I heard, at the end of the day, we know it's all love and all respect from both guys, especially from Bradley Beal, who want to show the young high school player up. But, I heard at the end of the day it was all love and respect. But me, I added extra sauce, which I did. I did that with the Miami Heat thing with the Code Red. Like I want to bring up the juice, right? That's what I do. So it doesn't mean I thought that was a dirty play. But, I'm adding extra sauce to it.
So dramatic. Code Red is so dramatic. I love it. Speaking of things that get said, you've been doing media for a while now. Very honest, outspoken man. Do you have any takes right off the top of your head that you regret now?
Nah, not at this level. No, not at this level.
Do you remember?
That's right, Brian. Double down. Double down, triple down. Do not give in.
I got one. And Michelle, you were there, and you might be insinuating this. We did a thing. Oh my gosh, it might have been 11 years ago, right? And it was LeBron was hurt, and he was in Cleveland, and he was hurt. So it was rank these players. You remember this segment, right?
I think I know where you're going.
Rank these players on what they're going to be 5 years from now, right? So
God,
LeBron had a bad back, and I'm like, so LeBron was ranked number 1. They gave me his name first, so I put him out. I put it on number 1. Then they gave me somebody else. I think it was Russell Westbrook, so I moved LeBron to number 2.
Oh, dear.
Then they gave me James Harden. I'm like, ooh, James is nasty. I moved LeBron to number 3. Then they gave me Steph Curry, so then I moved LeBron to number 4. Then they gave me Anthony Davis, and then it was only the top 4. So then I put Anthony Davis 1, Steph Curry, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and I threw LeBron off the list. I ain't worked for ESPN since.
I was going to say, and also, he saw that. Do you have a friendly relationship with him?
They ain't called me back since then, Michelle. You should have told me.
I thought it was going to be your Kobe. Your Kobe wasn't a top 10 player take, but this is pretty good. LeBron not even top 4.
Yeah, I pushed him off the list. Well, if I would have known,
we trapped you.
God was clearly wrong. Look how good he's been.
By the way, Brian, next time you go to a gym too, bring me and Lou with you because we want to bust these Twitter trolls' ass too.
Yes. Please do this, and all of it for content.
Too. And they have no idea, man. You know what? One time, a really good friend of mine, that I play pickup with all the time, and now when I play pickup, I ain't trying to get hurt. I'm just trying to have fun. Do a lot of dribble handoffs, a lot of screening rolls, all that stuff. And my buddy, who's a good player, he challenged me in the group text, and I just was really nice about it. Like, yo, man, I'm not like, you don't really know who I am.
You don't
like,
really want
for
that
me
problem.
to do the pickup, that's one thing. But dude, if you want to tap into that other guy, like I don't even want to be that guy anymore. Like I'm trying to let that guy die, right? But he tapped into it, and we had the whole group around. I spanked his ass 7-0. I let him know about it the whole way. And that's like my buddy. But, you know, and guess what? Guess what? I was on one all day, and I hurt my back, and I was hurt out for another 6 months. Like, I just don't even want to be that guy.
See, Chandler?
I had this argument with my friend that we're watching the Cavs, and Georgie Niang, they're like shitting on how he looks. I'm like, do you know what he would do to you in like a one-on-one set? Like, are you shitting me? He would destroy you. Stop.
Well, as a normal person, we sometimes get cocky and we think we can beat really great people. It's not right. Brian, this has been awesome. We appreciate the time. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, anytime. See you.
We'll be back.
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, then run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back.
Got another game one tonight, gentlemen's. Let's do a little prop party, shall we? Chandler, you're always up first.
Yeah, I love the Dallas Mavericks tonight. I think
know.
they're going to go in there. I love those odds, plus 158. I like them money line. And Kyrie Irving, I expect him to have a huge series. I know Jaden McDaniel is going to guard Luka. That means either going to be Ant or Mike Conley on there. Kyrie's got to make him work early, especially if it's Ant. I like him over 21.5. I feel like that's kind of low.
I don't know if it's low, Lou.
We were just talking about energy with
We
Scal.
were.
I love what the Minnesota Timberwolves bring to the table. I love the intensity. I love the pride that they take in the defensive end. I got Timberwolves money line. The starters are going to come out to play. With that being said, ATL Alien, Ant-Man, Ant Edwards. I got over 27.
One of us will be right.
What do you have, 27.5? Ooh.
Sure.
It's going to be a good one. It better be a good one. Last night was, and that wasn't supposed to be. All right, I also have the Wolves winning this one, the 12s. And I have Gobert because, you know, Defensive Player of the Year. He gets knocked a little bit sometimes in playoffs, disappearing, and I think he's going to be
He should
gonna be
have
up.
25 rebounds.
That's what I'm
tonight.
hoping, because 12.5 seems very doable, if you ask me.
I like that one.
We're going to take a quick break, come back,
Besides
wrap
12.
things up.
Besides the whole Wolves winning thing.
Well, we know you're going to
I like
pick Mavs.
half of that one.
Yeah, you're going to pick The NBA playoffs have tipped off. But it's not too late to get in on the action with FanDuel, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. You can use the bets on same-game parlays, live bets, championship futures, and so much more. No better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the app to get started. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Never take your socks off again while I'm in the middle of a very serious beat.
Something somehow in my sock. It
No.
doesn't make sense.
That's disgusting,
I
Lou.
don't know what it is.
Control your friend.
Ew.
Do we have picks for tonight? No, we already know. Mavs. Shams can't pick.
Do we want a series pick?
We
Who
wanna
wins
make
the
him?
series?
T-Wolves and
Wolves.
6.
Wolves.
Mavs and 6.
I say 7. Wolves and 7.
I hope it goes 7.
I really hope. You know what's going to be funny is last night we got a game and tonight somehow is a blowout.
Tonight will be a blowout.
You know that's going to happen. That happens
will be
every
a
single
blowout.
time.
You know the vibes?
I think it's gonna be a very competitive.
7, John? You like
Me
7?
personally. Me personally.
Yeah, I think 7. No?
Come on, go out on the limb, Shams. Who you like?
I think both teams are matched up very well.
He's the pro. That's going to do it for us. Enjoy the game tonight. We will be back tomorrow with Malik Beasley.
In studio?
I don't know about that one.
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it.